This will be on in Jesus' name. Lord, we thank you for goodness. Thank you for a day like this, for making this conference a reality. Only one that as you use Paul in the Bible to heal the waters of it, we ask, O Lord, that this conference will bring healing to the nation in Jesus' name. Heal your life and all participants and all the special guests who are going to be the living one thing on Lord, we ask, O Lord, that our spirit will bless your glory, Jesus. But at the end of this conference, we will have every thought to give you glory. May God be unto all who will be participating in this conference. In Jesus' mighty name we have prayed. Thank you very much. You remain standing for a while. No. This song. All right. Right now, I'd like to keep moving represented by and over. Good morning, everybody. Our Vice Chancellor, flashing because of the camera watching all what of the activities. Recommend your group taking initiative approach the first solution to the past level and the government. The all who have response to the nurture to reality. And now and from there, the implementation of power for powers. And when it comes to power again to us, our university in Nigeria. One is welcome our official to the focus of the here also, this way we want to do. Those are the and then I found my knowledge also to sound to the sound and again. Then, knowledge, I wish you all the best. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Vice Chancellor, for ladies and gentlemen, the chairman of the competition, Mr. Chairman, sir. Thank you very much. Vice Chancellor, University of Mexico, Professor Jack. Very close friends. I can share the same of the violence who succeeded in the seat of Christ. The one rector of this school, professor of this and members of the organizing committee, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please identify the it is great life and honor that I welcome you all to the International Conference of Workers in Africa, Icwa 2024, organized by our University Water and Water Research Group, led by Professor Icwa. The conference also has a new beautiful show. The date perspective. That the International Conference on Water in Africa is Icwa 2024. The theme is water and sustainable development goals, exploring indigenous approaches in some ways is unique in addressing the role of science, integration, in the pursuit of the United Nations NDG 3 and 6 in Africa, and also highlight the relevance of water in human existence and sustenance of life. I reflected the brought together researchers in academia and industry, as well as policymakers to interrogate the latest trend in water utilization, research, and management. I am glad to inform that over 300 participants are expected, both in person and electronically, from over 20 countries across the globe. As you can see from that time, displayed over here, you will see there are people who are all over the world here with us. Incidentally, because of our local problems of strike in the Nigerian university system, uh, they are then might not be as expected, and that's because so many people are of the opinion that this conference might not even hold. Incidentally, this very morning, somebody called me and said, Prof, I hear you're going to UNN. They are on strike. Then I called them and be sure that the conference is holding. I said, my goodness. So if the unions were to barricade the program, it would be most comfortable. So all of you that are here, thank you for braving whatever it is to make sure that you are enjoying. You are all welcome and we are very happy you're here. So with all of our international guests as well, we appreciate you. We know that this water thing affects all of us. If one part of the continent or one part of the globe is hurting because of improper utilization of water, especially with regard to not making use of technological advancement, then the entire globe will also suffer because the eye is hurting, the nose is feeling, and the ear and the mouth also suffer. I encourage everyone. The University of Nigeria hope that many students will be here because conferences like this need to be great by students also. They learn a lot by attending conferences like this. So I encourage every one of you and the community to embrace this conference I'd like to essentially start not long now, which was in Genesis. Dr. A. Jensen, the co-director of the Icwa University, and he was a keynote speaker. Emeritus Professor Robert Lecter, University I know that right from the inception of this program, Professor Metcalf has always been a very active participant. And so ladies and gentlemen, we will get the opportunity to listen to that instrumental giant in the area of warfare. We need some important results. And there are also stakeholders saying very clearly that this is something that the very people to get what they say. There is a condition and very important coming from Dr. Jensen. Introduced a moment ago. Dr. Eddie Jensen is the co-director of the Icwa African Partnership, Michigan State University.
Hi. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Very good.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. We're having a bit of trouble hearing from your side, so I'm just hoping I'm coming in at the right time. Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon. I'm not sure if it's quite afternoon there, but I'd like to provide greetings and acknowledgement to Professor Charles Icwa, Vice Chancellor, University of Nigeria, Nsukka, Professor Chinedu Nebo, Vice Chancellor, University of Niger, University on the Niger, and Opening Ceremony Chairman, His Royal Highness Igwe Ikechukwu Oke, traditional ruler of the Ichiagu Igbo Eze South Enugu State, Chief Mrs. Ebele Erojikwe, sorry for my pronunciation. I'm doing my best on my Nigerian names. Obina Onwujekwe, Director of Research, UNN. Special guest Professors Joan Rose and Anthony Oko. Ikechukwu Okuzu, Chief of the International Water Association, Young Professionals, Nigeria. Mr. Williams Abba, Director, Gombe State Ministry of Water Resources. Our keynote speaker, Professor Robert Metcalf from CSU Sacramento, who has woken up much earlier than myself, so greetings to you. Professor Antonia Chike, the AAP focal point at UNN, and Professor Vincent Chigor, Professor of Microbiology at UNN and coordinator of the Water and Public Health Research Group and conference organizer. Distinguished speakers and guests, all protocols observed, I hope. I'm honored to be here as a special guest at this opening ceremony of the 3rd Annual International Conference on Water in Africa, representing the Alliance for African Partnership. As my introduction mentioned, my name is Amy Jameson, and I serve as co-director of the AAP in our U.S. office based at Michigan State University here in Michigan in the U.S. I offer my deep congratulations to the conference organizers and the Water and Public Health Research Group, specifically Dr. Vincent Chigor and other partners that have worked so hard to put this event together. AAP is proud to have supported the initial work of the first partnership among UNN, MSU, and the University Cheikh Anta Diop in Senegal, and the first ICWA conference a few years ago through our Transforming Institutions grant program. This program provides small seed grants funding to initiatives that aim to transform institutions so that they are better able to participate in sustainable, equitable, research-driven partnerships that make a broader impact on transforming lives in Africa and beyond. The continuation of this work and the Water Africa Network is a wonderful success story of what these types of partnerships can accomplish. I'll just share a little about AAP for those of you who aren't familiar with us. The Alliance for African Partnership is a consortium of 10 leading African universities, including University of Nigeria Nsukka, one of the founding members, along with Michigan State University, and ANAPRI, which is an agricultural policy think tank network. All AAP members are committed to equitable partnerships that lead to research-driven solutions of the world's most pressing challenges. Michigan State University specifically, where I am, is proud of our long history of partnership with African institutions, which began with the University of Nigeria Nsukka. In 1960, MSU President John Hanna, who was deeply committed to international cooperation, traveled to Nigeria and worked with then Nigerian President Nnamdi Azikiwe to jointly establish the first land-grant university on the continent. And this set the stage for what now has been 6 decades of MSU engagement and partnership across Africa, and partnership specifically with the University of Nigeria Nsukka. I'm so excited to see displayed at this conference evidence of deep partnerships which span continents, regions, institutions, and disciplines working toward the common goal of successfully delivering on Sustainable Development Goals, number 3, good health and well-being, and number 6, clean water and sanitation. As I mentioned, AAP is committed to supporting initiatives that bring together partners to solve global challenges, and we look forward to the continued success of this global network of scholars and practitioners who are making significant impact on the lives and health of people in Nigeria, across Africa, and around the globe. I wish you fruitful discussions as you move forward with these meetings. Thank you. Yes, I'm sorry, was I cut off from the conference? Did you hear my piece of things? Sorry, I'm having trouble hearing. I had finished, but I think I was maybe cut off from the conference.
Slightly.
Ah,
Yeah, slightly. We want to
okay. Let me go back and just I think those of us online heard me, but maybe I should just repeat myself. Let me go back. I did greetings and acknowledgements, but I can go back and give my message again. Hold on, I have to pull up the okay. Okay. So I'm honored to be here as a special guest at this opening ceremony of the third annual International Conference on Water in Africa, representing the Alliance for African Partnership. As mentioned, my name is Amy Jameson, and I serve as co-director of the Alliance for African Partnership in our U.S. office based at Michigan State University. I offer my deep congratulations to the conference organizers and the Water and Public Health Research Group, specifically Dr. Vincent Chigor, and its other partners that have worked so hard to put this event together. AAP is proud to have supported the initial work of the partnership among UNN, MSU, and the University of Cheikh Anta Diop in Senegal, and the first ICWA conference a few years ago through our Transforming Institutions grant program. This program provides small seed funding to initiatives that aim to transform institutions so that they are better able to participate in sustainable, equitable, and research-driven partnerships that make a broader impact on transforming lives in Africa and beyond. The continuation of this work and the Water Africa Network is a wonderful success story of what these types of partnerships can accomplish. I'll just share a little about the Alliance for African Partnership. We are a consortium of 10 leading African universities, and that includes the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, and Michigan State University, both founding members of the consortium, as well as an agricultural policy think tank network based in Zambia called ANAPRI. All AAP members are committed to equitable partnerships that lead to research-driven solutions of the world's most pressing challenges. MSU specifically is proud of our long history of partnership with African institutions, which began with the University of Nigeria Nsukka. So this is a special relationship for us. In 1960, MSU President John Hanna, who was deeply committed to international cooperation, traveled to Nigeria and worked with then Nigerian President Nnamdi Azikiwe to jointly establish the first land-grant university on the continent. This set the stage for what has now been 6 decades of MSU engagement and partnership across Africa and with University of Nigeria Nsukka specifically. I'm so excited to see displayed at this conference evidence of deep partnerships which span continents, regions, institutions, and disciplines, working toward the common goal of successfully delivering on Sustainable Development Goals number 3, good health and well-being, and number 6, clean water and sanitation. As I mentioned, AAP is committed to supporting initiatives that bring together partners to solve global challenges, and we look forward to the continued success of this global network of scholars and practitioners who are making significant impact on the lives and health of people in Nigeria, across Africa, and around the globe. I wish you fruitful discussions as you move forward with these meetings, and thank you so much. I'm honored to have been invited.
Ladies and gentlemen, message from Dr. Amy Jameson, co-director of the African Partnership, Michigan State University. Ladies and gentlemen, let me inform Professor Jason
Yes, I want to. I I want to stand on the existing protocol. Okay, thank you. I want to stand on the existing protocol, and I appreciate each and every one of us. Um, just want to say a few things. That water is giving us reason to all the. Okay, the water is giving us reason to all there. And we are in the area of the Sustainable Development Goals. And it may interest you to know that in the week of the World Water Day, every year, March 20th as global. Um, about me, I joined this university in 2006 and have gone ahead. I became a professor in 2019. Four key business activities that we do include teaching, mentoring, research, and community service. We've been privileged to have support and some good level of funding for what we do. We've also been productive in terms of scientific output and research publications. Today, I want to want our minds to be illuminated on this, that water-focused approaches are relevant to tackling global challenges in all spheres of life. And why does water matter? Water, they say, is life, and it's critical in all spheres of human and human endeavors, and it's vital to both industrialization and indispensable to development. And to me, I must say in particular that water is both a robust platform for collaborative, interdisciplinary, and multidisciplinary research, and a valid bridge between the laboratory research and community engagement. When it comes to water, two important questions are always asked. Is it available? Even when it's available, water on Earth is 1.4 billion cubic kilometers. And out of that, it's just only about 0.3%, only 3% that is available as fresh water, which is the water area we focus as research. So what are we doing? We are building on a strong foundation. Ab initio, we had a vision to start a group and not to work as an individual. And our group is quite multidisciplinary, and we have these 9 research focus areas. The research is truly interdisciplinary team, staff and students from arts and education are collaborating what we are doing. So it's a university-wide group. What else are we doing? We've been trying to be creative and collaborative in what we do. And that's what led to the Water Africa Network, which was funded. We've had the AP co-director, Dr. Elijah Singh talk. they gave us the initial grant in 2020 that resulted in this forum that we're having today. At that point in time, we're collaborators from Michigan, Sheikh Mitchell and Judy, then Sheikh Guy from University, Sheikh entered University in Senegal, and of course myself here in UNM. So we've the first 10 years to be mobilizing, motivating, and moving stakeholders to explore the prime place of water, United Nations Sustainable Development Goals in Africa. This year's theme is Water and Sustainable Development Goals, exploring indigenous approaches. Of course, this is very fitting. I will read you more and how we can leverage on that. And today, a terminology that's increasingly critical is global. Global means you're having a global outlook, but then indigenous initiative. Today, as I have 100 and as part of you, we create platforms for training, the workshop on testing of water, the goal, the target actually there is to train rural identify contamination in their water, as well as also to train
for this event, the President of Professor in the United States of America. Water. We're coming to very shortly, and then I'd like to take this citation and I'm going to call Professor Engineer Ashike. Take citation on Professor Robert Metcalf. Ashike.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I
I am standing on the existing protocol to the recitation of Professor Eckhart. Professor Eckhart is a professor emeritus at California University, Sacramento, where he taught microbiology courses for 42 years, 1970 to 2012. He invented portable microbiology laboratory, a game changer for water testing. He also developed cool kits for solar cooking and water pasteurization indicator that verifies reaching 65 and water testing in resource poor countries. He led water testing workshops from 2008 to 2012 for UN artisans in Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Ethiopia, and Rwanda as a UN habitat recognized PML was missing link in water. He co-founded International Water and Health Alliance that supports community-based organizations to implement a strategy to eliminate waterborne diseases. For the last decade, he has worked with a community-based organization in Kenya, Friends of the Old Fossil, to implement a strategy to eliminate waterborne diseases for the 70,000 citizens who must rely on contaminated drinking water systems and to use a simple solar heater to cook food and pasteurize contaminated water. The photo strategy will be replicated worldwide for the 2 billion people who suffer from waterborne diseases and 3 billion people who cook over fire and are not aware of the solar cooking alternative. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Professor Eckhart to and give us a keynote. Well, continue, Professor Eckhart.
Can you hear me? And can you see my slides? Okay. Well, thank you for inviting me to give a presentation about the work I've done in Africa with water testing. And it's so nice to be able through Zoom to connect with microbiologists from all over Nigeria and from Africa. And I would like to give a presentation today, which is entitled Impotent Bystanders No More for Waterborne Disease, a community-based replicable strategy to eliminate waterborne disease in Africa. Okay. And I just want to make sure I don't have any financial connection with the companies whose products I mention in this presentation. Now, we all know waterborne disease is an overlooked chronic epidemic, estimating that over 6.5 million acute incidents occur every day, but they never get the headlines. And estimated over 2 billion people worldwide don't have access to safe water. Now, the UN General Assembly passed a resolution in 2010 that stated that that humans have a right to clean drinking water. But without a plan to get there, these are just empty words. And left out of the General Assembly resolution was the right of all people to test their drinking water sources to determine the disease risk. And waterborne diseases are preventable, kill the germs with chlorine or heat, and people don't get sick. And microbiology is the key to understanding waterborne disease. But for many people and throughout the world, how can tiny bacteria cause an animal disease? And as we know, they have this ability to double their population every time that there's a generation. And so you can go from 1 cell to 1,000 in 5 hours, and you can go after 20 generations at 1 million cells, 30 generations at 1 billion. So invisible cells can become visible colonies then. But until 1676, nobody knew the microbial world existed. And then here comes Antony van Leeuwenhoek that we love to talk about, developing these microscopes and polish these lenses then that would magnify 200 to 300 times. And oh my goodness, there were these microbes, the bacteria, the algae, the yeast that he found. But it was not until 200 years later that anybody realized that some of these microbes could cause disease. And as we know, it was Robert Koch who developed the methods to isolate bacteria and through Koch's postulates demonstrate that anthrax was caused by bacteria. And using Koch's methods then, the bacteria causing major waterborne diseases were discovered. Typhoid fever, cholera, Shigella, all in the 1880s. And the discovery that bacteria from feces could contaminate water and cause disease led to the challenge of how to test water for fecal contamination. And it was understood, well, we can't test all of those bugs, and there are probably more. Is there a bacterium that would indicate recent fecal contamination? And the job description of this microbe, this bacterium, it always has to be present in large numbers in the feces of humans and mammals. It doesn't multiply once it leaves the body and enters water. And it survives at least as long as bacterial pathogens, and we can detect it. And for over 100 years, E. coli is recommended as the indicator of choice for recent contamination of drinking water. And Escherichia coli gets its name because Theodore Escherich in 1885 was the first to isolate this. And when we want to correlate what levels of E. coli correlate with disease risks, and often this is presented as per 100 mils. But if you have for a high disease risk, which would be 100 to 1,000, and then more than 1,000, well, let's simplify this by dividing by 100. And what we get then is that there's a low disease risk. MSF says consume as this if there's no bacteria in E. coli in 10 mil. And then with high and very high, if you have 1 to 10 in 1 mil, and 10 or greater than 10 in 1 mil, those are high and very high. Urgent, we must know how to do that. So we summarize then, and the risk of disease for drinking water is low if there's no E. coli in 10 mil. Well, wouldn't it be nice if there were a 10 mil test for E. coli ready to use? And I'll show you about this one. And then high and very high disease risk sources have 1 to 10 or more than 10 E. coli per mil. Wouldn't it be nice if there were a 1 mil test that people could use directly? And I'll show you then about these tests. And until the 1980s, oh, it was awful to try to do water testing in the lab, these lactose-based tests. But what changed everything was the discovery in the 1980s that E. coli produced a specific enzyme, a beta-glucuronidase, that other coliform bacteria didn't have. And so it enabled a new generation of tests to be developed. And the very first test then that was developed, and the one which is used most widely around the world, is coli alert. And coli alert was developed by this gentleman on the left, Stephen Edberg, who was the clinical microbiologist at Yale University. And coli alert then initially came in these 10 mil tubes that we use. For testing 100 mil, then a snap pack of E. coli powder could be added to that and incubated. And coli alert is a defined substrate medium. It doesn't have peptones, it doesn't have extracts in it. It has inorganic nitrogen, sulfur, and phosphorus. And then there are two energy sources that bacteria have to use if they're going to grow. And one is abbreviated ONPG, and G is the sugar that the bacteria need to use to generate ATP and grow. And all coliform bacteria have this beta galactosidase that can split the G off, and then that leaves this chromogen ONPG. It'll turn the tube yellow. And then there's a substrate for the glucuronidase enzyme that only E. coli has. And it will break the G off of the MU. And then after incubation, that this tube will fluoresce when after the bacteria have grown. So let's do some collecting. So we'll collect water in a whirl pack, and this is in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. Carefully take off the cap, and you're going to inoculate with a sterile pipette, 10 mil, put the cap back on, mix it up, and make sure you dissolve things. And then you need to incubate it, because bacteria need to grow to millions per mil in order to get a reaction. So if you have an incubator, you can do that. But if you don't, you are the walking incubator, and you don't need electricity. I put these tubes in a sack, and I'll put them under my belt. And my friend Faustine and other women, they have other places to incubate the coli alert tube and then sleep on them at night. And overnight, then you get the results. If water has no coliforms in it, it'll be clear, like treated water from a filtration plant. But if the water is not treated, very likely it's going to be yellow. And it will be yellow because of the cleaving of ONPG and leaving the ONP. But to find out if E. coli is present, we have to use a battery-operated UV light. And then if MUG has been metabolized by the glucuronidase, it will fluoresce. So this, the tube on the right here that fluoresces, that had E. coli in it. At least one, could have had hundreds, thousands. This one here, which is yellow, but it doesn't have E. coli. And I had the privilege to show these coli alert tests to this woman that everybody should recognize. It's Wangari Maathai. In 2008, I led a water testing workshop at her facility. And so with the coli alert test, if it's negative, there's a low disease risk. And that's what we want everybody in Nigeria, Africa, and around the world to be drinking. But it doesn't tell us about how many bacteria. And for that, we have to go to the Petri film that was developed by the 3M company in the 1990s. And before that, for plate counts, I had to add a dilution to a Petri dish, add melted and cooled agar, and then incubate. But this was developed by 3M for the food industry. Because in the food industry, you're going to take 25 grams of a sample, you're going to blend it with 225 mil of sterile water, and then you always are going to be plating 1 mil of a -1 dilution or greater than that. And to just show you then about this, this is what the Petri film looks like then, and you label it. You want just 1 mil to go into this, and there's an easy way to do that. You lift up the edge carefully. You add the 1 mil to the circle of nutrients. You carefully roll down the film, and then you use a spreader to distribute the bacteria over the circuit, over the circle then of nutrients. And then we need to incubate these. I will put them between two pieces of firm cardboard and incubate them on my body. I generally put, in the lower part of my back during the day, and I'll sleep on them at night. And if you do that, those invisible cells can grow to tens of millions, and you can see colonies. And for E. coli, the glucuronidase substrate is one that actually, after metabolized, will turn blue. So it's actually violet red bile, which this indicator has been added to. So all you have to do now is count the colonies, and you know how many E. coli are present in 1 mil. And here you're going to have maybe more than 10. It's a high disease risk. The red colonies with gas bubbles are coliform bacteria from the environment that turn coli alert yellow, but don't fluoresce. The gas bubble is because there's lactose in the medium, and they're producing hydrogen and CO2 and give a bubble. The red ones that have no gas are just other environmental gram negatives out there. So you have a lesson. Are you looking for E. coli? We're looking for a blue colony with gas bubbles. And over here, well, that might have been from a borehole, and it doesn't have E. coli in it. But the one on the right, you can see, is aesthetically pleasing, but oh my gosh, that's not good public health. And so here we have, with the Petri films, for a high, 1 to 10, very high, greater than 10. And so let's take these lactose-based tests and put them in a museum, because they're from the last century. And let's do water testing with the glucuronidase-based tests that we have here. And so we've got the coli alert tube. We got the Petri film. You also want a whirl pack. You want a sterile pipette, and you want a UV light. And I put these together then, okay. And this is the portable microbiology laboratory that Professor Chigor is going to be using then today to use these things. And you can take this, okay, with a PML. Anyone can test, anyone, anywhere, anytime can inoculate, incubate, and read the results the next day. And I co-authored this booklet by UN Habitat then on water testing with the PML. Now, what has been so frustrating is that UNICEF and WHO require people to get a complicated membrane filtration system costing thousands of dollars and making it very difficult to do microbiology. But microbiologists know if you're using membrane filtration, you should only filter maybe 1 mil from rivers, ponds, or streams. But WHO and UNICEF say you have to filter 100 mil, no matter what the source is. Now I'll compare, this is in my laboratory, there's a membrane filtration unit here. I'm going to compare Petri films with the membrane filter using MI agar and using duck pond water here in Sacramento that always has a lot of E. coli. And as you see, you get a variety of E. coli over here. But when I filtered just 1 mil, then I was getting comparable units. So you don't have to go through membrane filtration to find out how many E. coli are in 1 mil. And if you filter 100 mils, you're going to get overgrowth. That's what the overgrowth looked like during this test. Now let's put these together. And the goal is 0, waterborne disease, a strategy to eliminate waterborne disease in Lower Nakach, Kenya. And this is where I've worked with the Friends of the Old, photo, that community-based organization there. And you people know where you're over there on Nigeria, and here is Kenya. It's on the equator. There's Lake Victoria, a map of Kenya here. There's Nairobi, and then it's up near Kisumu, where the Friends of the Old project is, in the town of Katito. And it's here where the Friends of the Old has a project. And my wife and I visited this annually for 10 years until COVID came and we weren't doing it. And it might be similar then in places in Nigeria where people have huts that have no water, that have no electricity. And we're working particularly with the elderly there, but also with people, the whole community, to get rid of waterborne disease. And the International Water and Health Alliances, it's a nonprofit organization that I co-founded in 2010. And it's through IWHA that is funded, photo is funded. Now, the main drinking water sources in Lower Nakach, because there's no water treatment plant there, are streams, rivers, ponds, shallow wells. And here people are washing their clothes there. But this woman carrying a jerry can of 20 liters, she's taking that home to actually use as drinking water. And here these kids are collecting water. And all of us would say, wow, I don't think I would want to drink that. And here's a shallow well. And this is Dina Chenjo, who runs the project, the photo project. The water is clear, but might it have bacteria in it? You don't know unless you test it. So these are the results the next day with that shallow well water. And what you see is that there are many E. coli. That's a very high disease risk. And you can do that test overnight. Now, the Kenya Constitution included in it in 2010, every Kenyan has the right to clean and safe water in adequate quantities. But again, you have a goal without a strategy to get there, and these are just empty words. And the Kenya government really hasn't taken this seriously, but photo has. And the main goal of photo is to eliminate waterborne diseases in Lower Nakach, and to be an example to the rest of the world of what can be accomplished by a community-based organization at low cost to improve community health. And the strategy for the photo project is testing for each E. coli, teaching at the community level, and then treating the water with commercially available chlorine. Okay, so here is, I have the staff from the photo staff that don't have a science background and certainly not microbiology. But look, in 2 days, they're going to be competent to do things. I show how to take the cap off of coli alert to inoculate that. And I also go through, hey, we're looking for an indicator. Its name is E. coli. And I go through how bacteria grow, how a single cell that can't harm you is going to get to thousands, millions, and billions in 30 division. And also then that what the substrates are and what the reactions are that E. coli will give in those. All right. And now you're going to become microbiologists. And that's what they do. We got to incubate that overnight to see what the results are. We got to incubate the Petri films overnight. And the next day we have these sources. And as you can see, whenever you're testing a river or a stream, it's very high disease risk. And we get the results overnight. And same with ponds, that you have high and very high disease risk. And so my wife and I have provided PMLs to photo. This is the last time we were there. Whirl packs, pipettes, Petri films, coli alert tubes, so that the photo staff can do testing out in the community to educate the community. And they're going to do this. Then there are 13 locations in Lower Nakach and 2 photo staff in each location. And they do 2 trainings a month for women's groups, for other people like this, to bring the water microbiology there and to have evidence that water sources locally are contaminated. And here this gentleman, he sees those blue colonies, they came from feces. We have to treat our water. And to treat it, we use these commercially available sources, the 1.2% sodium hypochlorite. AquaGuard costs less than WaterGuard. And a cap full of AquaGuard can disinfect a 20-liter jerry can then. And we do the microbiology testing before, and then we do it after. And what you see then is that there's big evidence that water is very high disease risk, but we treat it with chlorine and that kills the germs. And so IWHA provides the funds so that 9,600 bottles of AquaGuard are distributed every month to households and families. And we work with the village elders, the photo staff does, to do that. Okay, we started this in 2012. In 2015 to 16, there was a cholera outbreak in Kasumu County, where Lower Nacotchee is, and in neighboring counties. And they had cholera cases and deaths, but in Lower Nacotchee, you have nothing. Okay, and okay. And one of my former undergraduate students, Rick Blodgett then, he actually did a PhD thesis about the photo project. And here he had the photo staff that would go out and collect water from the households. And his thesis concluded from 377 households, 95% of people treat their water each and every time. And 96% of the households had low disease risk water stored by microbiology testing. And there was this video then that was then presented, and about that IDEX company that makes Coli Alert presents. And at this presentation, I received this Water Humanitarian Award. And then the next year, IDEX gave this Water Humanitarian Award to the Friends of the Old. How delighted that this small community-based organization gets recognized as a world leader. And also the staff, the microbiologists that do things. Now, I've shown these things various places, been at these meetings at World Water Week in Stockholm. There was an International Water Association Development Congress in Nairobi, where Dina Chenjo and Faustine from Nairobi and my wife are showing how to do the tests. I've introduced these to the Water Service Regulatory Board in Kenya. And here are the next day results, and presenting them with some of the PML materials. And the IWA Development Congress in Buenos Aires, we had a booth then again showing people to do that. And last year and for the previous years and this coming year, at the American Society for Microbiology annual meetings, I'll work with Kehinde Inolia from Nigeria to lead a water testing workshop. And this is a picture of the recipients from 16 countries that got a PML flash drive with teaching materials. So with a portable microbiology laboratory, anyone can be a water microbiologist, and that's what you'll be using when you get to the testing. I just want to also finish up with solar water pasteurization, because if you heat water to 65 Celsius, in a solar cooker or otherwise, you're going to pasteurize the water and kill the disease microbes. Many people say, oh, you have to boil water, but we know you don't have to boil milk, you don't have to boil water. And one of my students and I, we published on this in 1984. And 65 Celsius is hot. We're going to add egg white to 65 Celsius, and in 1 minute, the proteins are denatured, clear, goes to white. And just like that, temperature is going to denature the enzymes of bacteria and the protein coats of viruses. And the time to kill 90% of bacteria in water, the seconds at, when you get to these gram negatives, then, when you get to the 65 Celsius, it's within seconds you get a 90% kill. So doing that, but how can you verify that water has been heated to 65 Celsius? And I worked with a couple of people in the late 1980s to develop this water pasteurization indicator, okay? And this is the WAPI that I'm holding right here, and it's on the screen. And it has a polycarbonate tube with a wax that melts at 65. It has a washer, so it stays at the bottom of whatever you're heating. And if that wax heats enough to fall to the bottom, you've pasteurized the water. And so we take a look at what temperatures are rapidly killed? Well, you get the protozoa at 55, and most of the bacteria and rotaviruses, polioviruses at 140, and hepatitis at 149 or 65, and the whoppy melts at that. And so another student and I published on that in 1999. And here, this is Meatu District, Florida, in Shinyanga region in Tanzania. And this is the water that was collected that then the seller brings it to the container that we're going to get it from. And oh my gosh, I have water directly from the riverbed. And I'm going to use a solar cooker. And it's easy to make it out of cardboard like this, which then you're going to cover with aluminum foil with mixing glue and water in equal amounts, and then it's ready to use. And here in Meatu District, then, this is where we were going to set up. We have a dark container with that contaminated water in it, and we're heating it in the cook it. And when it's up to 63 degrees Celsius, we sample the water. The whoppy wax has melted, as Boniface is showing, and we did the before and after. So you can have that. And when I led a water testing workshop for the Ministry of Health in Kisumu in June of 2008, the photo staff then did solar cooking. And when you're cooking, you use a dark pot and you put it in a clear plastic bag. And then serve that solar cooking food for lunch. All of this could be cooked in 3 hours. So just introducing, you might also be interested in making cookits, getting whoppies, where you can cook food and you can use then that also to pasteurize water. So thank you for allowing me to share this work with you. And if anybody would like to contact me, I'm rmetcalf@csus.edu. And I hope you have a wonderful session, water testing, then that's coming up later this afternoon. So thank you. So I hope you saw and heard that presentation.
Really, I would like to and I would like to. Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much. That speech asked me very up and well, was well delivered. Professor McCall spoken on anybody have a question for him? All right, one thing I would like to say thank you to Professor Robert Mecca for that very rounded speech. And we have taken the next item that we'd like to take now is the performance. Drama performance is then of the Department of Theatre and Screen Studies. So while we are with the entry for the performance, we'd like to address an issue that we overlooked That's the issue of breaking up colonel. Usually in Icwa, the colonel is one of the first things to present to someone that pays another visit. We have to delay. The ladies and gentlemen, the colonel is here. We are not going to the very elaborate ceremony over it. But then we have one of our real politics here in our midst, and we'd like him to take up that aspect for us. And we're going to invite Chief Eli Eze, who is here in the capacity for his right hand.
onye isi anyị bụ Chinedu Nebo nke tutu ya abịa tupu abịa amanye naanị ụzọ ngwọ ya ala ndị niile bịababe anyị ga-ana n'udo ụmụ ihe niile ndị anyị ga-na-efe ihe na-akụzi anyị tupu anyị arịọma kwere nke mere anyị mgbe anyị kwere n'ọkpara Jizọs Kraịst. Amen.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, take the draw presentation. But I'd like to further recognize the presence of Professor A.J. Minola. He is the current vice president of Community University, Kawa. I'd like to say that Professor Minola has always been very active on and then events. For the past 2 years, we had this program that always featured very prominently. Now, ladies and gentlemen, everyone is put together by critical legal mind and the person of Dr. Icwa, we can together for the level of the
My dear, That was a very good performance. You see, Ijakola is known for peace.
Yes.
And in peace and harmony we shall remain.
Yes.
Can I assure you that peace will never leave this land?
Yes.
Done. That's okay. Go get our visitor's name. That's okay. Pass. It's guaranteed. 100% guaranteed. Your operation will go smoothly. Throughout your stay in the Jabalan, you will have nothing to worry about. And God, you have to be. Take our visitors to the guest room. You have to be. My family. You know, I've always meant well for this Ijako kingdom. This foreigner that promised to give us $50 billion on top of this current drilling team. And you can never imagine the benefit we are going to derive from this. Father, this is big loss. It is near the Ijako River. And besides, this is brittle to me. No, shut up! How dare you talk to my father? How dare you talk to my father? Okay. Stop this madness 1 minute. I said stop this madness at once. Are you aware you are standing before the king of the Ijako kingdom? How dare you mess this palace up? Now let me make my point very clear. I have made my decision, and that is final. Yes. And I've said my own. If this nothing I don't do back, this palace will not contain both of us. Can you come back here? Look at this. Now, woman, you better go and talk sense into your son. I'm not sure I get back to that point.
Well, I also think study that trying to back up. It's a bring up home. So I'll be back up.
My king, you see this again. I'm not part of it. You, Ada, are you supposed to talk to the king like that? Are you supposed to do that?
Okay.
My queen.
As for me, anything where you decide for all of us, it go good for us. I trust you.
Thank you, my queen.
Money be inside.
Thank you, my son. Thank you. Thank you so much for selling the value of father.
Mama, don't bring me water. Don't bring me water. Okay, Mama. Mama, Mama, you're not getting better. So we need to go back to the hospital. Where this water with a drink? You know who? Some water don't bad. Mama, you know see now what this water will get. So next time, when the manager take, I'm not checking it. Mama, we need to go back to your work. You don't family. Mama, you know they really work. Mama, Mama, Mama.
What has the king done is according back to? What has corruption done to us? Every day, people are dying. People having one ailment for another. What shall we do? What shall we do?
My innocent mother. She has died because of the water in the cup. So much. And something what was making her sick. She died. It made me say, the water I fetch is my own head, kill my mother. It's not only you. My sister, they hospital since 2 weeks now. I hospital money back to the sister, but she doesn't get well. My whole body has been scratching me. My head they pay me things. I don't know how my body take they do me self.
Since I think it's the Java water, me and toilet na 5 and 6. After they go through,
I go back again. They don't die. My
Youth of our land.
Our king.
Youth of our land.
Our king.
We don't mourn our loved ones for far too long.
Yes.
It's time we stop being cowards and confront the evil of this land. Together, we will march to the palace and make sure we get what we want, which is to stop this water polluting madness. Make to go.
What news? Professors have been captured. What? Then you went through that right now. What have you done? Hey, me can only take this one and go. What do we do now? Hey! Okay, we don't finally catch the people when they cause us all these problems, please.
And who are they? My people, there is the head of this kingdom and the other one with problems in this kingdom. He involved himself with all things that Jacob that broke our water. My people, he and the people.
My people, I welcome you all once again. Today, we mark the beginning of a new era in our kingdom. Today, the new king is crowned. The new queen is crowned. The new king is here. He is a new king.
There you have a new era in here. But my people, I want to urge you. Let us not put our hand in the position of the Jacob. Because we are Jacob. You and I are Jacob. Let us stop this water pollution madness. Because water is
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to put your hands together once again for them. I believe you got the message of that performance. And Mr. Chairman, it might interest you to know that the drama piece we just saw was performed by the first year students of the Department of Theatre and Film Studies. And the student coordinator is in the person of Miss Eunice Okeke, one of them in their class. Thank you very much. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to bring this event to a close, but not until we have taken a vote of thanks from Miss Amechina.
Thank you very much. Because of time, permit me to stand on existing protocol. The Vice Chancellor, the Vice Chancellor, admin, the special guest here seated, and those that are with us virtually. The chairman of the occasion, Professor Nebo, permit me to thank on a listening protocol, everyone here. My task is very easy. Thank you. But then, thank you for job well done. I want to say thank you to the administration, the Vice Chancellor, and the Deputy Vice Chancellor for all the support that they gave to the Water and Public Health Research Group for putting this conference together. There is a massive support from the administration. We want to thank you especially for that. We also want to thank person, in the person of Professor Nebo, for accepting to chair this occasion. So we are grateful to you. Coming all the way from Enugu to be here with us. It was here on time. Thank you so much, sir. We also want to thank all the special guests that are here with us on the high table. I will not be able to mention everyone individually. His Royal Highness, the Icwa of Chicago, will be represented here. Thank you to know that Chicago was the first community where we conducted water testing for rural communities. Until then, we forged a partnership with them, always around our events. We're grateful that you're here, sir. I want to thank the professors that are present, and visitors from Nadia University, from other universities. I want to thank especially the keynote speaker, Professor Metcalf. When he was giving that speech in the middle of night for them in America, and he was awake to do that. We are grateful, sir. We also thank the plenary speaker who start with them immediately after this. We want to thank every one of you for the effort you have made. We want to thank the presenters in this conference, those who submitted it. You that made this conference to be. We are grateful to you. We especially thank the Department of Theatre Arts and Film Studies for organizing this wonderful drama for us. Thank you so much. Led by Dr. Eroji. Thank you so much. We will not forget the ICT for the work they are doing. Let's hear by Icwa. We are grateful for your work. Finally, I'll thank the convener, Professor Icwa. Thank you so much. And his Department of Biological Science, Microbiology, sorry. Thank you so much. And the MC, thank you. We hope that when we ask you to come again, you will be here. I'm not forgetting the members of the press. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Ameshina, for that both of them. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to announce to us that after now, we'll get back here for the plenary session. So right now, we're going outside for the group photograph. That's the next thing. By the time we're coming back, it will be for the plenary session. A number of them are already on standby. The ones that are going to take there today. And then subsequently, tomorrow we would have another session, but I think that will be at the Institute of African Studies. We'll be duly informed. But for now, we're going out for plenary sessions. Now, I would like to observe that this event started with an opening prayer. I do not think it will be out of place to have us also close it with a closing prayer. Let me invite once again Reverend Audrey to come take us. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to give the microphone to the chairman for his remarks, closing remarks, before we take the closing prayer.
Thank you very much. It is my privilege to make just a few closing remarks. So far, so very good. You can see that those who organized this workshop and conference have done a very good job. We appreciate the keynote speaker. I commented in the chat forum while he was, about the time he was ending, that he's done a marvelous job. It was really a splendid keynote address. I really appreciate that. I would like to once again thank the convener, Professor Vincent Icwa and the group for a wonderful work, and also to express my profound gratitude to our Vice Chancellor, who is here represented by his Deputy for Administration, and other several professors who are here, Icwa, who has come to grace the occasion and bless the quota. We thank you. And I'm so happy that even from our brother university, Professor Professor Ezemaji from Unity has been here from the beginning to this time and will continue. I'm so grateful, my brother Prof. You've always been there for your profession for decades now. I want to thank you again. It is time for us to go on to the next activity. May God bless you all, those who have to leave. I hope that most people will stay back for the plenary session. And as you do, there is a lot to learn. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Amen. Thank you once again, Mr. Chairman. It's now time for the closing prayer.
Let us pray. Lord, we thank you once again for helping us through this opening ceremony. Lord, we ask that your grace will be abundant to us as this conference progresses. Lead everyone, Lord, especially those who will be traveling back, grant them journey mercy. Continue what you have started, that at the end your name is Lord be glorified. In the name of God the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you. So go outside for the group photograph.